Pressing depends on the game. Sometimes you have to be more aggressive, sometimes there will be less. But of course, everyone knows pressing is one of the things that the manager wants from us. We tried to do it against Crystal Palace today. I think the first 25 minutes from us was unbelievable. Great tempo, and we don't give any spaces to them. We recover a lot of balls higher on the pitch, and as I said, we could score many times in the first half. This is what Bruno Fernandes said on Sky Sports in his post-Crystal Palace match interview, and it sums up what we can imagine about Manchester United under Ralf Rangnick on the German's coach debut. However, the Red Devils' tactics are not only encapsulated in the Gegenpressing philosophy, because they even change their attacking as well as defense shape. Although the habit of transitional play is still present at Old Trafford, please consider subscribing Random Football before we begin our first edition of the Tactical Analysis series. Ralf Rangnick insisted that the Manchester United squad that played against Arsenal in the middle of the week is very stable, and he has no reason to shuffle the starting 11. However, the match against Crystal Palace is also the beginning of a new era, has witnessed a huge change from a tactical perspective. Specifically, the home team used a 4-2-2-2 formation with two attacking midfielders rather than wingers like the 4-2-3-1 formation. Many people misunderstood that Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho or Bruno Fernandes seemed to overlap each other on the left flank, but here they are simply used for different positions and roles. One of them played further up front with Cristiano Ronaldo, the other played as one of the two central attacking midfielders to creatively move the ball across the pitch. Let's start with Manchester United's new approach, the high pressing. In the 4th minute, Crystal Palace was forced to fall into a dead end when Manchester United players closed them down right in their own half. After a few passes from right to left, the away team were forced to kick the ball upfield. In the end, they all can do is to lose control of the ball or commit a foul. Next, when goalkeeper Vicente Gaeta had not received the ball, Fred began to move up to close down Cheick Kouyaté. Besides, Cristiano Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho also tend to immediately drift to the right flank, where the ball will appear as Marcus Rashford is putting strong pressure on the opponent from the left with his goal speed. Another typical example emerged shortly after, when Scott McTominay began to realize he needed to rush to the left flank of the opposition when the ball was returned to the goalie from the right. The Scottish midfielder sped up to not give fullback Tyrick Mitchell a chance to handle the ball, even though it had not reached central defender Mark Guehi on the edge of the penalty box. As a result, Man United won possession in the final third 12 times against Crystal Palace. That's nearly twice as many as they have managed in any other Premier League game all season. And this is what we can initially expect from United under Ralf Rangnick. Manchester United's aggressiveness in applying pressure also caused Palace to lose the ball a total of 34 times, their biggest number this season. Not to mention, the visitors' goalkeeper and back four also had up to 40 long passes in 90 minutes, reflecting how helpless they were. There was also, as expected, an increased emphasis on pressing high up the pitch. Man United's central defenders were already up to midfield, and you could see Palace didn't have much of the ball. The only problem for United was that they dominated the match but couldn't make a performance out of it. Now, let's take a closer look at the tactical aspect when Man United maneuvered in a 4-2-2-2 formation. Basically, the home team created two things in this match by applying Ralf Rangnick's Gegenpressing philosophy. The fullbacks provided the width, with Alex Telles in particular given license to bomb forward. The following images show the Brazilian star's attacking role against Diogo Dalot on the right flank. Telles alone actually launched 8 crosses, accounting for almost 50% of the squad's total. As for Diogo Dalot, he didn't often launch crosses into the box, but the heat map shows the player moving and touching the ball a lot in the opponent's final third. Looking at different situations on the pitch, we found that the Portuguese defender was more aggressive in tackling and dribbling than Telles, and this was the crux of exploiting Dalot's greatest strengths. In order for Telles and Dalot to comfortably move forward, Man United pushed 2 central defenders close to the touchline, while one of the 2 central midfielders dropped deep between them. This is the back 3 system used by Ralf Rangnick at RB Leipzig in the 2018-19 season. However, as Crystal Palace could not attack, we are unable to evaluate the effectiveness of this way of playing in situation where Man United organizes their backline. The second thing is, Ralf Rangnick created the right system for Ronaldo, as he said a few days ago. You always have to adapt your style or your idea of football to the players you have available, not vice versa. Having seen Cristiano yesterday in the second half at the age of 36, an amazing top professional, at his age, I've never seen a player who is still that physically fit. He's still a player who can easily make the difference. So yes, it's about how we can develop the whole team, not only Cristiano. We play in the most competitive league in the world, so we need all the players on board. Man United used a 4-2-2-2 formation, meaning that they don't have any real wingers, but Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho always drift to the left to focus their attack there. When one of these 2 drop back, Alex Telles can be seen immediately running up, while Cristiano stands completely in the center like a classic number 9. To be more intuitive, we will compare 2 touch maps of CR7 in the last 2 matches against Arsenal and Crystal Palace. And from there, we could easily spot the difference, which is the spread of touch points in the win against Crystal Palace, while the Portuguese star tended to drift further to the left flank against the Gunners. Putting Ronaldo in the center instead of on the wings simply saves him energy for attacking phase, but when combining the width of the fullbacks and Ronaldo's direct play, Man United opened up a lot of space in the area in front of the opponent's backline. Take a look at the situation appearing on the screen. Fred has stepped back into the area of the central defenders to receive the ball, while Scott McTominay stays at the bottom of the triangle with Jadon Sancho and Bruno Fernandes ahead of him. Crystal Palace's mistake was to deploy 2 central midfielders in this match, so they were stuck with either Manchester United's central midfielder or attacking midfielders. When Alex Telles played a long ball to Ronaldo, who was running into channel, it was easy to see Bruno Fernandes and Jadon Sancho standing right in front of the Crystal Palace defense, with Conor Gallagher and Kouyaté nowhere to be seen. And basically, you should never let that happen to your team if you want to keep a clean sheet from a second ball. Moving on to the third part, Manchester United's form in defensive situations, and this continues to be a similarity with RB Leipzig over the years. When retreating to a stable state of the squad, Man United often uses a 4-1-4-1 formation in this match, but those were the times when Scott McTominay needed to rush forward to close down Conor Gallagher and left Fred alone in the midfield area. This way of playing causes a team using double pivot in the middle of the park, like Crystal Palace, to be restrained and unable to move the ball in the middle. The heat map shows that the visitors were passing mostly in their own half. The only chance they created was Jordan Ayew's 75th minute strike, but it was an individual effort, not a collective effort. As I have said at the beginning of this video, Manchester United dominated the game, but they failed to convert that into a real performance. Now, we come to the fourth part, also the final topic of today's edition, which is transitional play. Essentially, Gegenpressing is described as a total counter-attacking play, which relies on quick ball recovering and quick counter-attacks. Manchester United are not yet at Liverpool's current level, but they have begun to show that idea with the German coaching guru at the wheel. In the 66th minute, Alex Telles successfully recovered the ball and Fred immediately gave it to Bruno Fernandes, who was waiting above. Manchester United have dropped deep at this moment, but they still have Marcus Rashford on the right wing, and so a long pass was immediately made. That is also why in the previous scenario, Ronaldo dropped deeper than Rashi, even though he was a striker. The 86-minute scenario continues to be a typical example of this way of playing, with Donny van de Beek, a player who is very good at running into channels. When both sides contested for the ball, the Dutch star could be seen running into the stretched area between two Crystal Palace defenders. And if Man United's right back was Trent Alexander-Arnold, perhaps Van de Beek could receive the ball on the first touch. So when we see the former Ajax Amsterdam star's arm raised, that is when a long ball should be played forward to him. But Diogo Dalot hesitated to pass, and that's fundamentally wrong in transitional play. However, we could not ask for an immediate improvement in the Man United squad with Rangnick, and we will have to wait and see if they can improve in the near future. I believe that Man United has great potential to develop in the direction of transitional play, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has built a squad of Godspeed players as described by Pep Guardiola in early 2020. But to bring into full play the quintessential qualities of these running machines, it is clear that Man United needs to know how to combine many factors, not just running, but to pass quickly and accurately and fight for the ball. In conclusion, we would like to sum up today's edition as follows: high pressing, the 4-2-2-2 formation when attacking, the 4-1-4-1 formation when defending, and gegenpressing to switch from defense to attack. In general, Man United's performance tailed off somewhat in the second half, and Patrick Vieira's side could not hurt the home team's backline, so we could not have a further insight of Ralf Rangnick's football. In the future, Random Football will take a closer look for detailed analysis. For now, goodbye and see you next time.